there. He does a really good job. I had to let him know that.
Yeah, he's very active on his social media now.
Oh, whatever.
It was a compliment.
Hi,
said
Ron.
It's not Ron.
It's Joe.
It's Joe.
Joe is here today.
Joe. Hi, Joe.
Hi.
He was complimenting your social media.
He was? What was he saying?
You do a really fine job with your social media.
Well, thank you. You know, I get a lot of blowback from some of the lawyers in the office here, but I tell them I was prescient about television back when television wasn't a thing, and now social media is where people are finding lawyers, and that's where you have to be. You have to be where the eyes are, and so people 40 and under, that's where they get their news from.
What's your name on social media?
Do you follow me on TikTok?
I do. I see you on Instagram, and your
Okay.
information is very good over on Instagram.
Well, thank you. I have a TikTok account too. I at one time, I hit this Luigi Mangione case right at the right peak time, and one post of mine had 9 million views.
Dang.
I built that account up to 188,000 followers, over millions of views, and then dummy me didn't read their community standards, and they took my TikTok account away from me. But I jumped back in, and now I've built it back up. So
what's your name?
it's Dave.
No. What do they call you?
The Boomer. They call me the Law Father.
The Boomer?
Yeah. Because I got like a little shtick Boomer out. I'm following this Luigi Mangione case very closely. And so I've learned that you become a content creator, you then create an audience, and then once you create a following, then you could start moving off of one case onto other sets of cases. So I lost my big account like an idiot. TikTok won't give it back to me. And so I'm trying to rebuild my following.
What did you do that made them take it away from you?
I don't know. Really?
No?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I may have made some comments that were inappropriate. You
Okay.
can't like TikTok has these very weird rules. Like you can't say kill someone. You have to say off them. You can't say gun. You got to say pew pew. Okay. And there's all these rules, right? And so they gave me a couple warnings, and I just I said, come on, you talk in code on TikTok. Now,
How did you get the warnings?
they send you warnings. You violated our guideline. You violated our community
I didn't
guidelines.
realize they sent
Yeah,
you.
one more and you're out. And I did one more, and they kicked me out.
Now, if you invest a bunch of money into your TikTok or your social media and the platform takes it away from you, do you have any legal recourse to claw that back?
Absolutely not.
No. They're in
But if
The
control.
words of
if
you,
you
Beatrice, how'd that
create-
work
yeah.
out for you?
If you create good content, people will want to see what you're saying about a case. Like Frank is following the Kroberger case. The
Brian Coburn.
Brian Koberger, the stabbing in Idaho. I'm following the Luigi Mangione case because I think that has caught Americans' attention, especially
Yes.
now that the Attorney General of the United States issued a press release saying they're going to be seeking the death penalty for Luigi Mangione. And so there's a whole bunch of implications with that. Like the last time federal prosecutors tried to seek the death penalty was for a guy named Sapov, who they felt was a terrorist, and he drove a truck into the Hudson River Park and killed 8 people. They considered it an act of terrorism. And the jurors couldn't unanimously agree to give him the death penalty, so he got life imprisonment without parole. So usually the jury reflects the values of the community. So although Pam Bondi's saying, I want to get the death penalty, they don't have the death penalty in New York. New Yorkers aren't ones that usually give the death penalty. That doesn't mean they can't get it. It's just, the jury is a reflection. The citizens jury is a reflection of the community in which you reside. So something that may pass in Mahoning County, that a jury might give a defendant a pass for, might not get a pass for in Columbiana County. It's just that's how the system's set up, that the jury is supposed to be a reflection sort of the ethos of the citizens in that community.
Although the Mingione case, one thing that I think has inflammatory specifically about it is it's on video.
It's
I
a
mean, it's
it's
very
a cold. What I can't make sense of is this kid is an Ivy League educated, handsome man that had no prior record, no nothing.
yeah.
And there's 6 months of his life that is unaccounted for, where he comes from a super wealthy family.
In Maryland, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're super wealthy.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, he was whoever killed Brian Thompson walked away from that crime like a cold-blooded murderer.
Luigi Mangione.
Yeah, but the people don't want to believe he's guilty. And look, he's entitled to a presumption of innocence. I think he's in a lot of trouble. I think they got a lot of evidence against him. I think that manifesto they caught on him.
That's the worst part.
Yeah, I mean, and so there's a synergy between what the federal government's doing and what the state's doing in that case. So the state's considering it an act of terrorism, okay? And now Pam Bondi says this is political violence. Well, if you think about it, terrorism in its essence is
political violence.
an act of political violence.
Yeah,
So
right.
the synergy that the federal government and the state have it's going to be hard. And there's no double jeopardy there. So people have to understand that we're 50 United States. Each state is a sovereign in and of itself. And then you have the federal government sort of over everyone. So when you commit a crime, you could commit both a state and a federal crime. And usually one or the other jurisdiction takes you. But that doesn't mean that they're prohibited from not taking you.
In theory, New York could try him for murder, and so could the federal
And
government.
that's what's going to happen
Yep.
here. So he could win in New York and lose in
lose.
the federal government, and it
Right.
has no effect. And New York has some unique defenses that aren't available in the federal government. So it's going to be interesting to see how this case plays out. So go ahead.
Are you gentlemen ready to take some phone calls?
We
get the
are
lines
locked
lit
and
up.
loaded. Let's take some calls. Absolutely.
All right. So if you have any questions for the attorneys, anything with child support, you got speeding ticket, auto accidents, if you have any kind of legal problem, you can call 330-729-9977. Going to take call line 2 first. You're on with the attorneys.
Hello, caller. Are you there?
Line 2.
Me?
All right.
Is that
Let me put.
me?
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, I got a question. My wife got arrested last week, and she had to go to court Tuesday. Well, she's severely bipolar,
Mm-hmm.
so half the time she don't even know what she's doing. But anyway, she got charged with misuse of public utilities. She called 911 like 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
So they arrested her.
Where is it a state charge or a federal charge?
Well, I'm not sure.
Well,
It was
what
in the
court?
Newton
What court
Falls
did she
Municipal
appear in?
Court. Newton Falls Municipal
Okay,
Court.
so it was a state charge. I had a client
But
that called the
felony-
gas company
felony
275 times. They charged him federally.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, anyway, that was Tuesday, and they took her down to jail. She's severely handicapped. Her back is so bad she can't even sleep at home in the bed. She sits in a chair, but they took her to jail. She spent the night there. She didn't sleep at all. But anyway, they took her last night to a mental health facility in Canton.
Okay.
But she has a trial date now on April 15th. Now, being that she's mentally ill, does that have any bearing on the case?
Yes.
I mean, first of all, should I get a lawyer?
Yes, you
Oh,
should.
You don't have a lawyer?
Yeah, you should get a lawyer, and I don't know that I would.
Whoa. You don't have a
This all
lawyer
happened so
currently?
quick. No, this all happened so quick. It was like,
Yeah. So the due process clause of the 14th Amendment, as applied through the 4th Amendment, provides that unless you're competent to stand trial, it violates your due process rights. So if she's not competent, then the court will try to restore her to competency. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I would continue to talk about the factual
Yeah.
background of the case right now, especially if you don't have counsel and she doesn't. But
But no one knows who she is.
no, they don't. I agree with that. But
But you should hire a lawyer.
yeah, you need a
immediately.
lawyer. There's no
And
question
that's
about that.
something we handle. So if you give us a call, either Frank and I'd be more
Like
than
she
willing
has
to
go
help you out.
court on the 15th. Is that too
No,
close
that's
for you
fine.
guys to-
No, that's
No.
absolutely fine. But as Dave said, that's something our office handles.
The
Give
fact
us a
that
call.
they admitted her into a mental hospital is an indication to me that she doesn't have her facilities about her yet. So they're going to try to get her regulated. And look, mental illness is an illness. Unfortunately, society has given it a really bad rap. But no one
Yeah.
asks to be diabetic, and diabetes is an illness. Mental illness is an
Right.
illness. And usually most mentally ill people, if they can be regulated and lead a normal life, they just have to do it with medical assistance and making sure they take their medicine. And
That's
so
the thing. She won't take her medicine.
that's part of the disease process. Is mentally ill people don't think they're mentally ill, and therefore they don't want to take their medicine. And so we've handled, I've been doing this 40 years now, and I've handled so many cases with mental illness. And what happens is, if you are mentally ill and you are taking your medicine for 5 years and everything's good, and then all of a sudden you go, you know what, I'm feeling great, I don't need to take my medicine, and then you stop taking your medicine, you relapse. But when you relapse, it goes deeper than before.
Right.
So every time you relapse, the illness worsens, and it takes longer to get you back to normal. So just give us a call and we'll see what we can do to help you out.
So I ask for any certain lawyer, or
Frank or David, that's all
Anybody?
you got to ask for.
Frank or Dave. Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Hey, before
right.
you take the next call, there was a comment that came through on the Facebook page. Does Frank usually wear socks? Answer is no, except in federal court. Thank you.
But how did you know that was you? Are you on
Somebody
Facebook?
sent me a message about a,
Yeah.
a comment.
I have
made, do I
socks
wear
on.
socks?
I have socks on. They're not.
And
they,
actually, I do wear socks. They're no shows.
Yeah.
But
make fun of me for wearing socks. Like they go, "Oh, old man, you got socks on." I go, "Yeah," because that's what I do. I wear socks.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a thing with me.
it's your problem.
All right, ready for your next call? If you
we
want to be on the line.
are ready to go. Where's Ron, by the way?
He's on vacation.
Oh,
He's taking a couple weeks off.
Oh, of course. I love to be Ron. When I die and come back, I want to be Ron Verb. As a matter of fact. Just sit there and get to pontificate, make stuff up, and then take vacations.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good gig.
Go ahead.
330-729-9977. If you have any questions for the attorneys, you can get in any of your questions while we're on for the next 45 minutes or so. Let's go to line 5. You're on with the attorneys.
Hey guys, I have a question about Pennsylvania probate estate. We've got an estate case that's been going on now for probably about 3.5 years. I renounced mine. My sister's the administrator, and she's been basically liquidating the estate. The house is, she's let go for half of what it was worth, plus a few other things. They're accusing me of having a life insurance policy on my mom that, which I used to pay for the funeral and stuff. But I disagree totally with the first and final accounting. My attorney that's representing the estate will not even return my call. How can I, try to get some answers or get him to even respond to me?
Well, there's a thing
He's
call.
submitting the first and the
There's
final
a thing
accounting,
called a phone,
and I can't.
and then you might want to phone another lawyer and hire another lawyer, since the lawyer you retained is not returning your calls. There's a lot of lawyers.
Right. Okay.
That's what I suggest you do.
Okay.
Okay. I mean,
Okay. I just
Lawyers
by
have to
signing up, by
realize-
having a sister be the administrator. Do I?
do you what?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Your question is.
Do I still have rights? Okay. When the thing is finally coming up for distribution, does the attorney pass out the checks, or does it go to the administrator?
Administrator.
To pass out to the
For the
heirs?
administrator, but it's done through the court. You need to get a lawyer to help
All right.
you through the process. Oh my God, it's halfway through the show
All right,
already.
we got to take a break real quick. We'll be right back with the attorney.
Click this link now to review my bank transfer. I didn't make a bank transfer. Ugh, another phishing message. Are you frustrated by these too? So much of our lives are online today. To make sure my information is protected, I checked out CISA's Secure Our World resources. They've got 4 simple ways we can stay safe online. First, learn to recognize and report phishing. Next, create a strong, unique password for each online account. And use a password manager if you can. Then turn on multi-factor authentication for extra security, and you'll receive a code when logging in. And finally, turn on automatic software updates for convenience and safety. Click here to track my delivery. Another phishing message. But now I know how to protect myself from scammers, and you can learn too. Go to CISA at cisa.gov/secure our world for more quick, easy tips to be safer online.
All right, we are back. We're talking, this is Legally Speaking. We're talking with the attorneys. If you have any questions for the attorneys, 330-729-9977. Are you guys with us still?
We
Yes,
are.
sir.
Okay, cool. I'm going to launch right into our next call. Line 1, you're on with the attorneys.
Yeah, hello. Hope you guys are doing well. I've got a question regarding durable power of attorney.
Okay.
You assign someone as your durable power of attorney. They have power of attorney over your finances. Assuming you're in good physical and mental health, can they just simply walk in, grab one of your checks, and say pay their car note or something?
Yes.
Well, that's the danger of them. Okay. And you can cut that off immediately. And you could sue them for self-dealing.
But they could do it.
But they could do it, yes. That's why I don't recommend use of them.
Especially under your circumstances.
I mean, you seem
Well,
stable to
rather
me.
than a durable power of attorney, what do you guys suggest?
Well, why do you need a durable power of attorney right now? Are you incapable of taking care of yourself?
No, but I'm a little bit older, and I'm thinking maybe in the future, something's going to happen.
Okay, well, maybe in the future is when you should have it.
Yeah.
Right now, quite frankly, you seem very lucid to me, sir. I don't think you need anyone. You don't need to give. Now, there's a difference between a durable power of attorney for healthcare decisions and a durable power of attorney for financial decisions. You should definitely have a durable power of attorney for healthcare decisions. I'm not so sure as of yet you need a durable power of attorney for financial decisions.
Right.
It might come to that point. It might not. I don't know how old you are, but it seems like you might be a little up there in the years. And maybe now's the time you start thinking about doing some estate planning.
But to Dave's point as well, when the time comes for a durable power of attorney for finances, you need to make sure it's somebody you trust very well.
As a secondary question regarding power of attorneys and wills, if say I changed my will, or I changed, say, my medical power of attorney or durable power of attorney financially, does the filing of that new paperwork supersede the old power of attorneys and wills?
Yes, it will supersede it, and most of the time, there's language to that effect in the document.
Okay, great. Because I'm looking at things in the future. I'm 70 years old, and kind of considering things. And I appreciate you guys' answers.
No problem. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, caller. And while we wait for more callers to line up, 330-729-9977. I got a question for you guys. Our first caller may have waited a little bit too long before they, thought of lining up an attorney. At what point, like in what situation do you want to absolutely know that you should involve an attorney?
Immediately when you get charged with a crime.
Yeah, if handcuffs are on you, that's a good indication that you need a lawyer.
Yeah.
If you get a target letter from the FBI, that's probably a good time to hire a lawyer. If a police are knocking at your door and want to question you, that's a good time to get a lawyer. Even if you're innocent. I tell people this all the time, and they just don't get it. Look, the police are human beings.
Yeah.
They could think that you did something you didn't do. And many times, police build a case from the top down instead of the bottom up. They go, oh, this is the guy that did it. Let's now build the case against him.
Exactly. Yeah, we have the utmost respect for law enforcement, but to Dave's point, there can be plenty of times when if they're talking to you, they believe you have some sort of involvement in that. And they're trained and they're very good at, becoming very friendly and, hey, we don't think you're a suspect. You're not involved. And they get you talking. And before you know it, you're charged. And again, that's their job. But to his point, you can be completely innocent. They're not doing it maliciously, but they believe that you're involved in the crime in some capacity. They're going to ask the questions that they need to. And they will preface it with, hey, you're not a suspect. Like, they're allowed to lie to you. I mean, it's part of their deal.
All right. We got a couple callers here. If you want to get on the line, 330-729-9977. You can talk to the attorneys, ask them a question, have them help you out with give you some legal advice. Let's go to line 1. You're on with the attorneys.
Hello.
Hello.
This is what's happening.
The reality of U.S. troops in Ukraine is unlikely.
The very latest.
I don't know what happened there.
Ukraine membership in NATO, unlikely.
At the top and 30 past.
Supposed Russian drone strikes Chernobyl.
Stay current.
All he's done is fire people with Joe.
Check in every hour.
By having ICE on Rikers Island, we can identify those gangs inside and outside on the street.
News Radio 570 WKBN.
All right. Not sure there. Let's go back to that call, line 1. All right. You're back on with the attorneys.
Okay. I'm on.
All right. We really got our stuff going. Hey, Joe, do you know how to run the buttons over there?
News, talk, and sports radio. Podcasts.
All right. We're doing great, Joe.
Free never sounded so good.
Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio said the Browns and the Steelers make the most sense to make a move for Kirk Cousins, who says he wants to be a starter this season. Cavs battled from behind a runaway from the Knicks last night at Rocket Arena. The win, coupled with Boston's loss, puts the Cavs' magic number to clinch the East at 2. And FIFA awarded the 2031 Women's World Cup to the United States today, the third time the U.S. will host soccer's World Championship. I'm Scott Davidson.
Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season.
Thought she had because they did a background check and she had a DUI 16 years ago. Can she have that expunged?
Where's the DUI out of?
Columbus,
No.
Ohio.
No, you cannot. There's certain traffic offenses that you cannot expunge, and an OVI is one of them.
16 years ago?
Yeah, it's the nature of the offense. So the reason why is because in the event she was ever to get another one, she can be charged accordingly. Now, if it was 16 years ago, it would be different than if it was 5 years ago or 4 years ago. But regardless, those remain on your record. So there are eligible offenses that you can expunge in Ohio, and unfortunately, an OVI is not one of them.
Oh my! And she's never had anything since.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of surprising that an OVI from 16 years ago would preclude her from a job. I mean, I can't imagine there's many insurance ramifications for that at this point in her life.
That's what we wondered, because we figured maybe it was because she was going to have to drive some of the time in her own car.
Yeah, and sometimes that happens with companies. I mean, where an OVI is extremely detrimental can be to folks that have sales jobs where they're traveling, pharmaceutical sales jobs, any type of sales job where they have a company car. If you get an OVI, it can be problematic because the company insures you and they pay for your vehicle. And so there's financial ramifications back on the company at that point. But I mean, 16 years ago, I don't think that would be so likely.
I don't think so either. And she was using her own car with her own insurance.
Yeah, I understand. Again, that doesn't happen too often from at least our experience, but I can tell you, unfortunately, she can't expunge it. At least not in Ohio.
Well, she's in Texas now.
Yeah, but the conviction was in Ohio.
She had a job till they did a background check.
Yeah, she would have to expunge that in Ohio, though.
She would?
Yeah, the court, if it happened in Franklin County in Columbus, she would need to file, in the event she was eligible, the expungement would take place in Franklin County.
Oh, okay. Well, she said that she talked to a friend, but she didn't know if he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah. So sorry, wish we had better advice.
Okay, well, I guess I can't help her.
All right. Have a good
luck
night.
to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, caller, thank you. 330-729-9977. Next caller here, line 2. You're on with the attorneys.
Hi. About 10 years ago, I sold a small commercial property on land contract, and they've been making payments for 9.5 years. They want to pay it off 6 months early. I gave them a payoff. The contract merely states I'm to give them a general warranty deed. There's no provision for guaranteed title or any other responsibility on my part. I'm merely to hand him the deed. What about, should I make sure he goes to a title company and has it recorded, or what?
The word warranty, what does that connote to you? What does that mean to you?
That means I'm warranting that everything is okay with the property, that I own it, free and clear.
So who do you think doing a title search would protect, you or them?
Good question.
The answer is you.
The answer is you. No,
that they have a clear, that you're getting a clear property, free of all encumbrances.
Right, but you want to do that check because you're responsible if there is an encumbrance on the property.
Right.
You're warranting to them that they're getting
it free and clear. What happens if there's something on there that you don't know about? Well, guess who's going to get sued? You. So
like a mechanic's lien or something that the buyer.
Well, if something he did, that's different. Okay, but generally they can't put it on a piece of property they do not own. So my suggestion is get a title, get a title search to make sure you have clear title. And it doesn't cost that much to get title insurance. Because you aren't giving them a quitclaim deed, you're giving them a warranty deed. Now let me tell you the difference. Quitclaim deed, you get what I have, here it is. You are taking it as is.
Right.
Warranty. A warranty deed. I warrant to you, I'm giving you a warranty that there are no encumbrances on this property. Okay? So that's why you want to get it checked out. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll do it.
All right.
I didn't realize the ramifications that something could happen while he's been a tenant there or a buyer in possession. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to make sure title's free and clear, or you're liable.
I'm not so sure if he did something. Did you record your land contract?
No.
Okay. So they can't put a lien on something he did for a piece of property he doesn't own.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I'll do it. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, caller. Phone number 330-729-9977 if you want to get your questions in with the attorneys. Line 3, you're on with the attorneys.
Am I on?
You're on.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if this is pertaining to the attorney or not, but in Youngstown, that Janetti needs to go back to school to know how to build roads. We passed over Center Street
All right.
Bridge.
I
went
understand. Okay, Joe, there we go. There we go.
Yep.
All right.
330-729-9977. Let's go.
Wait a minute. Let me just stick up for Pat Giannetti. Look, we have 2 seasons in Ohio, barrel season and winter. We just left winter season. You got to give them time to fix the roads. All right? It takes time to fix the potholes. They just don't go away right away. You got to give them a reasonable period of time to fix them. It's only April 2nd. We just got out of a deep freeze. Give the guy a break. I mean, I know Pat
And it's
Giannetti.
supposed to be 32 degrees on Tuesday, I think.
Right. So they got to have time to fix things. Okay. We live in inclement weather, which means, unfortunately, we deal with things called potholes. And they try to stay on top of them, but they're not miracle workers. Those things can literally pop up overnight.
It's true.
All right. Next call.
All right. 330-729-9977. Line 4, you're on with the attorneys. That's you.
All right. Next call.
All right, 330-729-9977.
All right, turn your radio down,
turn
please.
your
Put you
radio
back
down.
on hold.
Caller,
All
are
right,
you
with
there?
us?
All right, 330-729-9977.
All right, I put you back on hold. Turn your radio down. Come back to you
there we
next.
go. There we go.
Let's go
There's
to
always
line
one
5.
in the group. Go ahead.
Yep.
Hello, I want to do a will, and I need to know what a cost would be for just a simple will. Is that charged by the page, or is?
Well, first of all, you can't just say a simple will till we know the breadth of your estate and how. Well, okay, not much, and whom you want to leave your property to, and whether or not you in fact can leave the property to that person. What do I mean by that? If you are married,
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
you cannot disinherit your wife by a will. You cannot say, I don't like her anymore. I'm giving it to my girlfriend. You can't do that under the law. So the person you leave your assets to, there are some guardrails around that. But if it's a simple will, it's usually $200 to $500.
Okay, that's all I
But
needed to know, sir. Thank
simple
you.
is
Good
a
luck.
sliding term.
I understand that.
Okay.
All right, thank you, caller. Appreciate it. 330-729-9977. Let's go to line 1. You're on with the attorneys.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, this is Pennsylvania jurisdiction property. When we were married 40 years ago, bought property. It's titled both names, joint tenants in common with rights of survivorship. We're now divorced, and my ex-wife is telling me that changes when you get divorced. Is that true?
Yeah. Didn't you handle this deed and this piece of property in the divorce?
We're both on the mortgage, so we can't really do anything with the.
But the court still
title.
could have awarded the fact that you're both responsible financially doesn't mean that the court cannot separate out who ultimately got that piece of property in the divorce. So who got that piece of property in the divorce?
there's an agreement that she gets the property. I don't want it.
Okay, so what are you asking?
Should we leave the title the way it is? Does not.
Well, that should have been handled through the divorce
Or
court.
no?
Wait, hold on a second. Is the property now paid off?
No.
Okay. So if she was supposed to get the property and she dies, guess who the property goes to?
It goes to me.
Right. Is that in keeping with what the court order is?
There's really not a court order. There's an agreement that it was not. It was never filed.
So you're not divorced?
No, they're divorced.
No, he says there's an agreement that was never
Yeah, what?
filed.
Are you divorced or not?
We are. We have a judge's order, yes, in Butler County, yes.
Okay. So you're legally divorced. That piece of property should have been divided in the divorce.
Yeah. The terms of that order should dictate what happens with the property.
You need to go back and read your divorce order.
Okay, but we have, like I said, we have an agreement that was drawn up by her attorney, and we both signed it. And I agree that I don't want any parts of the property.
Yeah, but that should
my
be
question is,
incorporated
when
in.
I die, I want the property to go to her free and clear.
Right, but that should be incorporated in your divorce. That's what we're saying.
The
There can't be a
problem-
side agreement.
Yeah. The problem with what you have done is that property is still in joint tenants with right of survivorship. Should something befall your ex-wife, property is going to go to you. And her heirs might get
Okay.
a little mad at that.
She really doesn't have any. I'm not. My question is, does it, the rights of survivorship, does that still apply?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that was my question, because like I say, I have debt, she has no debt, and it's my understanding that if I die, the property goes right to her, and my debts then will die with me because she never signed on to my debt.
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I need to know, because
All right.
she's telling me some other crap, and it doesn't sound true to me.
Well, what does she want you to do? Sign the deed over to her? Sign the deed over to her if you don't want it. What's the
Well,
problem?
because with the mortgage, the mortgage, the bank, if I would sign it over to her, they'll call the mortgage in, and neither one of us can afford to.
Well,
pay the house
how
off
do you
like this
know
stuff,
they're going to call the mortgage in?
because it's in the contract.
That doesn't mean they're automatically going to turn it in. As long as they're getting their money, they don't give a rat's patoo.
Right, and the flip side of that is you have nothing to do with the property. You're not going to take it over, and then if something happens with her, you're on the hook.
He's not on the hook. He has the property.
Well, right, but I'm saying he's not living there, right?
No.
So you're going to pay for it.
No.
Well, he's not going to pay for it.
Well, if he's still on the mortgage.
How much more of the mortgage do you have?
Probably 50 grand left.
How many years?
It was a 15-year. There's probably 6-7 years left.
So that's my point. If something happens to her, he's got to pay.
No, the property's worth more than 50 grand now. What's the property worth now?
Oh, yeah. 300.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then
He's
that's
good.
okay. Then yeah.
He's good to go. I don't think the bank. Look, I'd call the bank and say, "Look, I'm signing this over to her. You're still on the mortgage. They don't care
No.
whether you're on the deed or not, because you're on the mortgage. Why don't you call the bank
Okay.
and say, this is what I want to do, and see if they'll agree that they won't call in the note."
Okay. Well,
All right.
but then I just have their word verbally, though.
No.
Is that
You
correct?
would get a letter or an agreement from them,
Yeah.
a forbearance
From
agreement.
get it. Yeah,
Get it in
from
writing.
the bank. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
But my question is, if I would die today, the property goes to her free and clear.
Well, it goes to her subject to the mortgage. They still have a mortgage on the
Well,
property.
yeah, I mean, she's paying the mortgage, so that's not a problem.
Well, when you say free and clear, it's not free and clear. The property still has a mortgage on it. So your
Well, yeah,
share of the
that-
property would go to her.
And didn't you say if something happens, neither of us could afford it?
my problem is, or what my question is really, I have debt that she never signed on to. And if I die, she feels that they can come after my estate, which I won't have an estate because I will own nothing. The moment I die, the property turns over to her.
Well, here's
under
where she's
operation
at
of the
risk.
deed.
Here's where she's at
Pardon
risk. I'm going to tell you where she's at risk. Listen to me.
Go ahead.
This property is still in your name. If one of your
Yeah.
creditors sues you, they could put a lien on that property. That's why you want to get your name off that property.
There's no problem while I'm alive paying the creditors. There is no problem with
That's
that.
not what he's saying, though. He's saying if you die with debt and you own property when you die,
There's a chance they could lien that.
right? They can lien that property, which is her house.
But if I die, does not the title pass to her the moment of death?
It does, but you might have a problem with some of your creditors.
Yeah, she gets title, but you were still on the mortgage.
Plus, I mean, technically, they could try to chase his property over to her.
Right.
Okay. If you want my opinion, the cleanest way is to get that property out of your name. And you're saying,
Okay, but I have to,
go ahead.
but I have to get the bank to agree to that.
I'm telling you, I don't think they're going to care. Have you been paying every month?
Oh yeah. We've never. Oh no, that's not a problem.
Well,
That's
so
not a problem.
why would they call in the note? Just say, look, we got divorced. I'm going to quit claim my share over to her. I'm still obligated to you to pay the mortgage. They don't care whose name the property's in.
I'm surprised that the court allowed you to
Do that.
get divorced in this manner. You're supposed to be disentangled. You guys are still entangled.
Yeah. They have a side agreement.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
That was my question. Well, thank you very much for your help. I
Well,
appreciate it.
thank you for calling in. Do we have other callers there?
We do. We're going to go to line 2. You're on with the attorneys.
Yeah, another estate question. I have a checking account. My son is co-owner. Is that money upon my death? Is that money subject to the look back? I mean, it's been well over 10 years he's been on this account.
Well, it's not out of your name. So yes, it's subject to the lookout. You still own that account.
Right. And if
He's co-owner though.
Well,
still,
it doesn't
you're on
matter.
it.
You're on it. It's an asset of yours.
Right.
You did not.
In theory, you don't start the look back clock anyways now until you take it out of your name altogether.
Right.
Okay, so it's no protection then from the look back.
No, not in my opinion. No.
Okay, that's
All
it.
right.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you, caller. The number 330-729-9977. If you have a question for the attorneys, line 3, you're on.
Hello?
Hello. Yeah, you're on.
Oh, okay. Hey, Eric, this goes to do about my taxes. In 2022, I was doing my taxes, what you do in 2023. My accountant put the wrong account number on it. It went to the IRS. They deposited it in somebody else's account. I fought with the IRS for a year. They finally gave me the account number. I went to the bank, had them audit it, and they came back and told me they're not at fault. You need to go and talk to your tax accountant. So I called her.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to get my money back. It's $5,638.
So you were getting a refund from the government, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the one I got back from Ohio, they mailed me the check. It was not deposited in somebody else's account.
Okay. So your accountant gave them the wrong account number. Now, does that
Yeah.
sound like someone made a mistake?
Yes.
So if a
And
person,
the IRS told me that they can't believe the bank put it into a different account without the same matching names.
well, they did. So either the bank has to give you the money, or the accountant has to give you the money, or the person that was unjustly enriched has to give you the money. But the government did what they were
Well,
told
I went
to
to
do.
the bank. I went to the bank again, and they did a research on it, found the account that it was in, the date and day it was deposited, and they told me it's too late. It's been 2 years. It's too
Caller,
late.
hold the line real quick. We got to take
I don't
a quick
think it's
break.
too late.
All right, we'll be back. This is The Lawyers.
Tomorrow on the TV, I gotta show them how to.
Have you ever wondered if your pet is lying to you?
Why is my cat not here? And I go in and she's eating my lunch.
Or if hypnotism is real?
You will use the suggestion to enhance your control.
Or what's inside a black hole?
Black holes could be a consequence of the way
So
we
how do you do
understand
it
the
on a
universe.
Mac? Well, we have answers for you in the new podcast, Science Stuff. Join me, Jorge Cham, as we answer questions about animals, space, our brains, and our bodies. Listen to Science Stuff on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart Radio app, search Science Stuff, and listen now.
General.
All right, we are back,
General?
legally speaking, here. If you have any phone calls, 330-729-9977. We were in the middle call about a tax problem. Let's go back to line 3. You're back on with the attorneys.
Okay,
Okay, I'm here.
caller, the person that has your money, they've been unjustly enriched. And you could sue
Exactly.
them. You could sue the bank. You could do all kinds of things. You just want your damn money.
Well, the bank won't give me no information on it, won't sign no paper saying that they're at fault. And they called me before and said, we are not at fault. You need to call your accountant. We only do what the IRS tells us
I
to
understand.
do.
And the money, who's the person that has your money, have you found out who that person is?
No, the bank won't tell me and the IRS won't tell me.
Okay.
But I do have their bank account number.
Okay. Well, you need to get a lawyer and sue someone. Your accountant, the bank, and the person whose money the bank's in. Someone
Well,
messed
then
up.
give me your number because I called my attorney and he said that's out of his hands.
Well, you can have our number. The problem is you can sue in small claims court up to $6,000. Sounds like something you could do yourself.
I thought small claims court was only $3,000.
No, it's been increased to 6, right, Frank?
Yes.
It's been increased to 6,000.
Okay.
All right.
So who would I sue?
The bank, your accountant, and John Doe, who's ever the owner of that account is.
All right, caller, thank you.
That's right.
Thank you for
I've
calling.
been fighting since 2023 for this. You wouldn't believe what a nervous wreck I've been.
Okay, well, it's 2025.
I mean, if it was only a couple $100, I wouldn't mind, but you're talking $5,638.
I agree with you. Go to small claims court.
All right, caller, thank you for calling the program, 330-729-9977. Next caller, line 1, you're on with the attorneys.
Is that me?
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I have a question on my cousin sold a house 26 years ago on land contract to her stepson. Her stepson made 3 payments and hasn't paid since. What's her recourse on it?
Wait, what's it? What? I didn't catch that.
How long ago? Did she sell it
26
to?
years.
26 years?
Her stepson.
What happened?
Well, so okay, she sold a house 26 years ago by land contract to her stepson. Did he complete the land contract? The land installment
No, he made
contract?
two payments.
He made 3 payments.
But it was
First 3
26
payments and
years ago.
hasn't paid since.
Well, you still have the contract. Why did she wait 26 years?
I'm not sure.
So, there may be. Is there a statute of limitations issue? Which we'd have to look at that first and foremost. And the second thing would be,
Latches.
yeah. And the second thing would be
What? I mean, 26 years.
that amount of time. You can't evict. You got to.
I don't mean to. I mean, caller.
You got to
At some point, the law says you got to exercise your rights or you waive them. It's called latches. I mean, 26 years ago, someone wronged me, and now I want to bring it up. Yeah, I mean,
her husband passed away, and I bought her house that she's in, and she's wanting to have that house sold. I would have thought the contract be null and void since he didn't complete the term. but I
Okay,
don't
well,
know.
But if he's been
hold
there
on,
the whole
hold
time,
on. Well, hold on a second. Whose house is it currently titled in? Who owns the title? In other words, if you were to go to the clerk of the recorder's office, whose name would be on the deed?
I think it's her stepson and his wife.
Well, then she quit claimed the deed to them.
I don't know the ins and outs.
Well, you gotta.
this is more complicated than what you're describing on there. If
Yeah,
if that's
you,
in their
is this
name,
in Mahoning County?
No.
Where is it?
Carroll.
get a lawyer.
You get a lawyer. Go. I think they have an auditor over there. Whoever the keeper of deeds is, they usually have it online. Put in the address, and they'll tell you who that house is deeded to.
Okay.
All right. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah. I'm all right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
All right. We have cleared the calls. You guys have the floor.
Well, I just want to tell everyone tomorrow morning on WFMJ Today. So Frank and I do these cross training. And so Frank, I didn't get to go to this training about your phones. So tomorrow morning, if you join me on WFMJ Today, I'm going to walk you through how you can make your phone quit being a homing beacon, because there is a way. Your phone is tracking you always, whether you're on it or not. And there's a way, at least on an iPhone, I could show you that they can't track you. Some people think they can only track you if you're using your phone.
Not true.
Not true. So,
And most people don't know that this feature's on.
Yeah.
But I'm debating on whether or not I'm going to tell Beatrice how to do
Yeah,
it, or I'm
you're
going to
not-
make him phone a friend
no,
at
I'm
6
not
in the
phone- no,
morning.
you're not. Oh, good. I'll
All right,
phone a
gentlemen,
friend.
thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. We'll be back here right after these words.
So you go to settings, and then you go to